Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel, Read M. My name is Emily and today I'm going to do a Christmas book haul of all the books that I got for Christmas. So my family was super generous and did get me a lot of books, and my mom, I know, likes to stalk my Goodreads to see what's on my TBR, and I have a shelf that actually says all the books I own on it, so she knows which ones to buy and which ones not to buy. And just a little PSA, I know it has been a while since I posted my last video. I was actually working on a video that I was going to post probably around a week or two ago, but I kind of had issues in general and I was in the middle of finals week and all that stuff happened, so I just canceled that video even though I kind of ended up reading the books for it, but I was not really in the headspace to film anything, so I didn't end up making a video for it. But if you do want to see my reviews for the books that I did end up reading for that video, you can just check out my Goodreads or my blog in the description down below. So without further ado, let's just get right into all the books that I got for Christmas. So the first book I have here is The Mystery of Black Hollow Lane by Julia Nobel. This is actually a middle grade story that I heard Erin from Booked and Busy talking about, so again, her channel will be linked down in the description below. I really want to get into reading more middle grade. I am kind of interested in trying to write a middle grade one day, years down the line, because I'm currently have a docket of 3 books that I'm currently going to write. So in my exploration of wanting to read more middle grade, I tried to think of the things that I've liked from the middle grade stories I have read, and one of my favorite series is the series Unfortunate Events, and also the name of this book is Secret series, and both of those, what they have in common is kind of a darker tone, smart kids, and some sort of like secret society thing, and I'm pretty sure that's what this is going to have. What I know about this is that it has something to do with the Order of Black Hollow Lane, which is a secret society. It has something to do with a disappeared dad, series Unfortunate Events, so essentially absent parents is another thing that I enjoy in my middle grades. And the main character is named Emmy, which reminds me of Emily, and she's shipped off to Wellsworth, which is a prestigious boarding school, which again has lots of darker energies and probably good for a secret society plot to happen. Oh, and it takes place in England, which I just always find really charming, especially in like darker mysteries or like kind of Victorian things. I don't think this is Victorian, I think this is modern day, but like still just those vibes. With when she arrives at school, she finds strange symbols and medallions and books, and she meets new friends, Jack and Lola, and it leads them to a secret society, and she has to figure out stuff about that. Maybe her parents are connected to it. So yeah, this just sounds like the perfect middle grade for me, and it looks really cute and short, and definitely something that I'm excited to read in the new year. So next up is actually a book that I personally requested, and that is Down Comes the Night by Alison Saft. Oh my god, I can't believe I forgot what her name is, because I've actually already read this book and I really loved it. This is her debut novel. It came out this year, and it is a YA fantasy standalone, and it's sort of also a romance, and it's very gothic, and it takes place in the winter, so this is a good one if you want to read it while it's still winter time. It has a lot of snow in it, as you can see from the cover. I love the cover. I actually read this book as an ARC way earlier this year, maybe even, no, I think I definitely read it this year. It was just like really early this year. It could have technically been at the end of last year, I don't quite remember. And I've also read this author's sophomore novel, which doesn't come out until next year, I believe, but I read that as an ARC as well, and I really liked that one, but not quite as much as this one. This one I will definitely want to probably reread one day, so that's why I wanted a physical copy, and it's very beautiful. So I want to thank Wednesday Books. I love Wednesday Books. Shout out to you guys. You send me a lot of ARCs and I love receiving them. So this is going on my beautiful shelf behind me, probably next to my Gilded Wolf series, which is another Wednesday Books ARC series that I read. So anyway, yes, I really enjoyed this book. It has good Jewish representation, it has bisexual main character, and the romance is kind of enemies to lovers, so yeah, I really highly recommend, especially in the winter time, and it's a very solid YA fantasy standalone, which I feel like there are not enough fantasy standalones in general, but especially in young adult. I want to see what it looks like underneath. I didn't look yet. Oh my god, look at these end pages. That is something. It has a nice, okay, you can't really see it in the camera, but it has like an engraving and a beautiful spine. Because as you can see on my shelves, I like to display my hardcovers as their naked versions. That's what I call them anyway. Okay, so the next book I have is Spellslinger by Sebastian de Castell, and I believe this is also an English author, and this is just the first book in a fantasy series. I think it has to do with magic trials. It has something to do with like, I don't know if it actually has to do with cards or not, like the suits of cards, but I know that the other covers for it has like the cards on them, so I don't know if it has anything to do with it. Like I don't know if it's like magicians more than wizards. I think it is actually about magicians. I don't know. I'm not exactly quite sure, but I just know it has something to do with trials, which is like one of my favorite things. I loved in, I actually haven't really read most of Harry Potter. I know that's kind of a sin, but I did read the one with the trials in it, and I liked that. And I also love the second book in the Shades of London series by V. Schwab, A Gathering of Shadows. That one has a huge magic trials thing in it, and most people don't like that book actually, but I love the second one. So that's why this one really called out to me. And again, look at that cover. I love when a series has the numbers on the spine of the series. I don't know why. I think this is a 4-book series, but I'm super excited to get into it. I know that some booktuber I was watching, I think her name is Claire. Oh, I'm so sorry, I don't remember the channel name though, but I'll probably try to link that down below, who loves this series, and she's gotten me very hyped about it. So this one is, again, hopefully one I get to in the new year, because I am really trying to stick to my owned TBR next year, although it is continuously growing, so we'll see. So the next book I received is actually a bit more unconventional for me, but it is again one that I've added to my TBR recently and have been quite excited about, and that is Empire of Pain by Patrick Radden Keefe. And now this book is a rather large nonfiction book with rather tiny font. I don't know if you can see, but it is pretty small, the font, and the book is quite large. But it's about the Sackler dynasty, who is the family behind the production of OxyContin, and I believe that this is also what the TV show Dopesick is about, which I have had some interest in watching, but I've heard mixed things about that, where instead I've heard amazing things about this book. I think this won the Goodreads Nonfiction Award too, which, you know, doesn't necessarily mean anything, or maybe the Anthropocene Reviewed one. But this was nominated at least. It's just, I've heard such good things. I do like nonfiction when it's kind of told in more journalistic or narrative way almost, and I think maybe that is more how this will be written. I also like business exposés. I like watching a lot of documentaries about that stuff, so I feel like why wouldn't I like a book about it? And I don't know, it just seems really good. The cover is so like striking and epic, and I also started watching Succession recently, which I know is not really the same thing, but the idea of like corrupt big companies is kind of similar there. I get, you know what this kind of reminds me of too? I love the documentary Betting on Zero, but also, what was that one? Oh, also there's a TV show, but it's like a documentary show called Dirty Money that's all about like corrupt companies and stuff like that. And I think there's an episode on Valorant. Is that what it's called? I don't know exactly what it's called, but it was like a drug company that was also corrupt. So like, I don't know. I'm interested in watching a lot of things like that, so I don't see why I wouldn't be interested in reading about it. So anyway, that is this one, and again, hopefully I get to this soon. The next book is, I think, the one that I'm most excited about, and that is because I'm going to be reading it for a readathon very soon, and that is Near the Bone by Christina Henry. Now, I did not specifically ask my mom for this book, but she like saw Kayla from Books and Lala posting about it, again, description down below, and I am so excited that she bought it because it has snow on the cover and it takes place in winter, which is some of the prompts for the readathon that we're gonna be doing, both my mom and I, in January. It's not a readathon, to clarify. It is, I believe, Gabby Reads' readathon. I'll put all the descriptions down below. I forget what the readathon's called, but it's basically about reading like wintry thrillers. This one really fits that premise. I don't want to read too much about on the back because it's a thriller, but I know it has to do with a couple who live in a secluded woods cabin, and it's in the winter, and there's some sort of monster. Not sure if it's a real monster or the monster is gonna be a human, but as of the blurb, there is a creature, and I think it's just gonna be a really thrilling, maybe horror experience. So I'm excited, and I've never read Christina Henry, but I've heard great things about her works, so I'm just excited to finally get to one. Next up, sticking with the kind of thriller train, we have Finlay Donovan is Killing It by Elle Cosimano, and this one is a thriller as well, but I think it's kind of a thriller comedy. I'm not exactly sure the tone, but the premise makes it sound like it's kind of a comedy, because it's basically what it's about is Finlay Donovan, who is an author, and she is having a conversation with her agent at like a restaurant or something like that, and someone overhears her talking about being a hitman, but she's really talking about her book. But that person thinks that she actually is a hitman and hires her to be a hitman, and she somehow, for some reason, inadvertently agrees, and now she has to kill someone. I don't know where it's gonna go from there. I don't know if this is like really gonna happen. I'm assuming it is, but I don't really know. It just sounds really funny, and I heard great things. I don't know, it was either from Riley Marie or from Chandler Ainsley, one of those people. Again, I'll maybe try to figure it out and put the description, but I heard good things about this from booktubers, and it looks kind of short and fun. I'm excited to get to it. It also has a lot of great blurbs on the back, like Lisa Gardner, Megan Miranda, Wendy Walker, and Kelly Garrett. Okay, I don't know who Kelly Garrett is, but you know what? Sounds great. Well, let's see what she said. She said you won't be disappointed. Hopefully I won't be. Also, I love this cover. Like, if it really is a horror comedy, this is a perfect toned cover. With the pink, the way she's like hiding. I don't know. I'm excited. So then lastly, for the ones that I actually received for Christmas, is A Castle in the Clouds by Kirsten Gier. This book is actually a German book that's translated into English. This is actually the author of Ruby Red, who I know the Ruby Red trilogy was like a really popular book too, like way back in the day. I never read that because I kind of joined a little bit after that phase, but I bought this, or I didn't buy this, but I added it to my TBR because it is actually a Christmas book, so I probably won't read this until next year. But it it has to do with this girl who is interning at this grand European hotel, and I think she just has to kind of deal with all the guests there, get into some shenanigans. I'm not actually sure if this is a romance or if this is a young adult. It is by Henry Holt, like the publisher is Henry Holt, which is usually young adult, but I haven't double checked to make sure, so I don't really know exactly, but I'm assuming she's still like pretty young, like oldest in her 20s. I don't know too much about this one either, but again, it's short and it's a Christmas book, so I think I'm going to save it for next Christmas. So I'm excited to have gotten it now. And this is a little bit off topic because I didn't directly get this for Christmas, but I did buy this year and I kind of forgot about it until I came home for winter break. So I just want to mention that in the new year, I do really want to prioritize reading a little bit more of nonfiction. Besides the one about the Sakura Dynasty that I showed you, I have recently gained more of an interest in like astronomy and like kind of physics things, which I've always liked physics, but not like, I don't know, I used to be a STEM major, so I was like taking classes on it, but now that I'm not taking classes on it, I kind of miss it, just like in a learning about it sense. Like I realized I don't want to work in that field, but I do still have interest in it. So I did recently buy the illustrated edition of A Brief History of Time and the Universe in a Nutshell, and I have read some of it, but I didn't get that far because when I went to school I didn't want to lug this giant thing there. But I do really want to like continue reading this. Like I just feel like if I read a few pages a day, I'll get through it like over the course of the year. And since this is 2 books, you know, I could prioritize just the first one to begin with, but it has really cool illustrations. It's really easy to read. Like you don't have to know very much about like the math and physics. It explains everything in an easy to access way. And I don't know, I've just been getting more and more interested in that kind of thing recently. And then this book is actually one I bought many years ago and only read like 80 pages of, but it's just another space book, The Universe in Your Hand. I don't even know like who Christoph Galford is, but it says on the back that he wrote some other book with Stephen Hawking. So like, I guess he's high up in the field, but I do remember liking it. I got to page 88, my bookmark is falling out. And this one is also told in a very easily accessible way. This one's definitely more astronomy based than physics, although there is some physics in it from what I remember, but I remember it was just very accessible. I think it talked about Miss Frizzle and the magic school bus at one point, which I really enjoyed, but it's basically kind of told through the lens of like taking you through space. Like it's like you're lying down on a beach and you look up and you see the sky and then you start flying into the sky and like you go around, and it's pretty easy to read also. So yeah, these 2 books, very heavy, are ones that I'm kind of trying to prioritize in the new year, and maybe if I read them, I'll think about other space books or physics books I want to read. So if you have any recommendations for those, leave them down below. I do have one math book that I'm very interested in reading called Humble Pie, who is by another YouTuber actually, who I can link his channel down below. It's a math channel. I don't know if you book people will be interested in that, but I do want to read his book too. It's just harder to get my hands on because he's British and I don't know if it's out in the US, and there's the whole like supply chain issues, so I couldn't order it on Amazon, and I didn't want to anyway in case I got it for Christmas. So yes, but I am interested in reading Humble Pie, and that one's just about math, not about physics and astronomy or anything. But yeah, that's just what I wanted to let you know for kind of goals for the new year. And with that, those are all of the books that I got for Christmas, and a few more little extras, just some goals for 2022. I almost said 2021. That is weird to think about. I might make another dedicated video on books I want to read in the new year, but those 2 are kind of just like my main goal that I kind of really want to complete. And yeah, I hope you guys had a wonderful Christmas if you celebrate, and if not, that you're just having a good winter break, spend some time with family if you can, safely of course. I'm really glad that I'm back to making videos. I should be making a few more soon. I'm sorry that it had been so long since my last one. I just really couldn't film at the time. I just wasn't in the right headspace, but now I'm happy to be back, and I'm actually considering also starting a book talk, so keep your eyes out for that. I'll probably post about it in my community tab, or I'll talk about it in another video if I make it anytime soon. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please consider commenting any recommendations, especially any space or math books that you have down below, and like this video for engagement, and consider subscribing. See you guys later. Bye!